I've got something to show you in this video which is going to provide a whole different layer to the analysis that we've been providing on this YouTube channel so far. It is something which to me is actually quite a bullish sign, and it's all going on behind the scenes. If you don't know this exists, you're never going to see this information. So here we are. We're going to get straight into it. Smash up the like, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're excited for this. You already know the deal. What I want to talk to you about is on-chain analysis. I want to talk to you about specifically the number of Bitcoin addresses with a balance of more than 10,000 Bitcoins in one address. Obviously, that's a lot of money. I'm not even going to try and calculate how much that is because I'm just going to embarrass myself. But this is a beautiful form of analysis we can carry on where we get an extra dimension of analysis. You know, we can't see this kind of data of, you know, the number of bank accounts with a balance of more than $40 billion or whatever, you know, across the world. We don't get to see information like that and how those bank accounts are having more or less cash depending on, you know, the state of the market and so on. But we do get it right here with Bitcoin. And so, you know, what I want to focus your attention was actually how this is starting to swing up very, very nicely right now. We've actually gone from early March of this year to now. We've gone from 84 addresses with a balance of more than 10,000 Bitcoins to 101, which is roughly a 25% increase. And the reason that this is important is that if we start to see, you know, and this is a zoomed out chart, if we start to see that the number of addresses with more than 100 with more than 10,000 Bitcoins or more than 1,000 Bitcoins and so on is going up, well, that might be a sign that, you know, the very, very rich, very wealthy players, usually just exchanges and so on, but whatever, are bullish and they want to be holding the coin. And there is even more that I'm going to be showing you with this chart as well in just a minute. There's quite a lot to go through in this video, but what I think is really important is just observing the actions of people and players that perhaps know more than you and I, you know, because they are generally considered to be smarter, although they do obviously tend to make some mistakes. I want to show you this chart right here that shows you a very, very steep drop with this 10,000 Bitcoin addresses balance thing. And this steep drop, if you remember, came at the end of 2018. This was when Bitcoin fell from $6,000 down to $3,000, and this was the subsequent rally up to 14, down to 3 again on the coronavirus crash, and then this was 65 and 69k. Just putting this chart in context for you. So obviously there was a big sell-off here. You know, when we see a big drop like this, this is indicating that there aren't as many addresses with a balance of above 10,000 Bitcoin, and so if Bitcoins are being moved around, they're probably being moved around to sell. If they're being consolidated in addresses, well, that could be a sign that actually, you know, a big rally is expected. And I think this is a really, really important sign to be paying attention to, because if you look at how this drop happened right here, you know, basically from, I don't know, mid to late 2021 towards, this was mid 2020 roughly towards, I don't know, mid 2021. There was a big decrease in the amount of addresses that had more than 10,000 Bitcoin in them. And that coincided really well with the first major peak for Bitcoin, right? Obviously, this means that a lot of these Bitcoins just trace this. Look at how beautifully this is working out. This is dropping so fast, meaning that a lot of Bitcoins are actually being sold off or potentially moved around, indicating that, you know, these big whales are looking to take some profits on their positions, perhaps close them out and move their Bitcoins to other places. Now we're starting to see that swing up. And again, that's a really big deal. There's a lot of data we can play with right here. And what I want to show you is also the 1,000 Bitcoin address data. Let me look for that right here. We're looking for addresses above 1,000. Take a look at this. We're also seeing a small, not so huge, but small increase right here. If I play the chart like this, you can start to see that we got, you know, quite a nice jump up right here. We have spoken about this on the YouTube channel, so those of you who are subscribed are going to know all about this. That was a fair bit of time ago, though, and I'm not sure if you can even see this. Let me just make sure this is coming up on screen. Yeah, you can see this. We're now getting a little bit of an upswing again, you know, from here at a low of 2.2 to where we currently are, which is 2.234. Again, this is only an extra 34 addresses, but that's quite a big deal in terms of, you know, the actual value of these addresses itself. And that's why I think it's worth bringing up, because the next thing that I want to bring to your attention is this histogram right here. And this histogram is a representation of the net holdings of Bitcoin, right? And so if we see that they're red, that is an indication that actually, a lot of Bitcoins are potentially being cashed out. They're being moved onto exchanges and then liquidated. And obviously that was happening during the run-up. But right now we're seeing that a lot of these Bitcoins are being moved perhaps into long-term storage. They're not being cashed out. They're being prepared for, longer-term holdings. They're being accumulated. And so this sign right here, seeing a lot of green, especially recently, basically, I mean, if we look at our Bitcoin chart, we're basically seeing all this green from like here and onwards. That is an indication that, yeah, these long-term bags could be getting filled up again. The fact that it lines up with our 10,000 Bitcoin addresses thing is also quite significant because it's showing us that, this is also what big whales are potentially doing at the same time as well. And to me, that is definitely quite an exciting sign. I want to show this to you once again. If we take a look at the net position change right here, just very quickly, by the way, if you didn't know, this is important. This is an indication, like I said, of the monthly change of long-term investors, right? So if it's negative, that's showing that hodlers are trying to cash out, and if it's positive, it's showing that new positions are being accumulated. And I think that's a very, very important thing to be looking at. It's not super crazy right now. It's not like we're very high, and there's a lot of super bullish stuff going on. But again, considering the lows that we're at right now, anything like this in this direction is great because it's not bearish, right? It's inherently more bullish than it is bearish from this particular angle. I'm going to give you guys the flip side in just a second, but this does show us one very clear trend, which is that people are buying Bitcoin and they are getting ready to move them, basically onto longer term storage. I'm actually curious if we can see the exchange balances as well. This would be an interesting one. If we start seeing funds moving off exchanges, just make sure I'm on the right one. 30-day change of supply held on exchanges. This is not necessarily the best metric, but this actually shows us something conflicting, showing us that there's more Bitcoin, well, just more crypto in general being held on exchanges recently. So that could actually be an indication of dumps starting to happen. Let's take a look at some deposits and withdrawals as well. I haven't actually seen this data yet. So deposits are down overall. What about withdrawals? We want to see withdrawals moving up as well. If withdrawals are moving up, that's going to be a sign that these coins are moving on to longer term storage and so on. Exchange balances right here going down. The percent supply held on exchange addresses. This is great. So, we're starting I've not seen this before today, by the way. So I'm looking at this with fresh eyes like you guys. This is showing us that, yeah, exchanges are taking up less and less of the overall supply held by supply of Bitcoin and other assets held in the market. And that's obviously quite important because if this number is going down, the implication is that there's actually more holders in the market as well. So that's absolutely phenomenal. You can start to see this number really shoot up, like right here. This is where the big panic sells started to happen. We see a big drop in the Bitcoin price, and it coincides with a big increase in the percent of crypto on exchanges. And obviously, if crypto is being moved on exchanges, that's probably in order to liquidate those crypto coins. So, we've seen a big drop there. People are just not, at this time, according to this, ready to be selling their crypto. And I think that's all a really, really big set of signs. Now, does this mean that Bitcoin can't keep on dumping? Absolutely not. Bitcoin is still, I just want to remind you guys, is still in a downtrend, right? Where we are sometimes fighting that trend. We are sometimes just merely pausing the trend. But overall, we are continuing down. And right now, we're just trading sideways within an existing very large downtrend. So this is inherently quite a bearish pattern, just if you look at it from that lens. But again, when you look at it from that next layer behind it, what it means to me, to be honest, guys, is that even if we do end up getting another leg down, which would be totally fine, I'm not necessarily expecting it, but if we do get it, it would make a lot of sense. You know what? We're still going to have these very, very bullish signs in the market. They don't need to act on the market right now, but one of the key things to keep in mind if you are long-term bullish on this market like I am, is that it's very hard to do what's called sniping the bottom, where you end up trying to just pick out the absolute low on the chart and buy Bitcoin down there and then run with it. If you see people online telling you that they've been able to do this, they're either lying or very lucky, because for the most part, it's extremely difficult to pick market bottoms and market tops like that. It does happen sometimes, obviously, I'm not trying to say that it's impossible, but generally the chances of something like that happening are very low. And so what I like to do instead is use a bunch of different factors to tell me, where is this market, where might it be going, and is there any additional layer analysis, I'm going to call this layer 3 analysis, so to speak, for Bitcoin, that might actually be, I guess this is actually called layer 4 analysis. Someone correct me on that in the comments. Let me know in the comments. One of you guys will definitely know about this. Layer 3 is order books. Layer 4, I'm pretty sure, is well, layer 4 people make up. Some people say layer 4 is like the exchange data, the data that exchanges have, which is obviously very exciting data, but nobody has access to that other than exchanges. So I'm curious to know what you guys would label as layer 4 analysis, but this obviously being something that does potentially give you a bit of an edge, and it does expose what the whales are doing right here. So, me personally, I've already given you guys all the reasons that, again, I still see that we're in a massive potential bear trend, but I also see that we could be, trading within this kind of range between these two green lines, and then we have our deviation above, and then we have our deviation below. But for the most part, we potentially stay in this range. I'm not saying that's what we're going to do, but it does definitely make a lot of sense. And again, I just want to give credit to MDX Crypto right here, because this is the guy who I actually got that piece of analysis from, about these deviations. And so I do want to highlight that and just bring it to your attention. Definitely something cool to be seeing in this market overall. And one final thing that also isn't surprising to us is the number of accumulation addresses really just shooting up. And for the most part, this number always trends up anyway. I don't want to be unfair about this, but this does definitely ring some bullish bells. What does the balances say as well? Yeah, balance is generally trending up as well, so that's absolutely great. Let's just quickly read the definition of this. This is the number of unique accumulation addresses, and they are defined by having at least 2 incoming non-dust, that means not small, Bitcoin transfers, and they've never spent funds. This is very important. If an address has never spent funds and it's just having 2 not so small amounts of Bitcoin, and by the way, this is like anything above basically half a US dollar or something like that is going to be counted in this. Roughly, I don't know how you define dust, but dust implies very small amounts of Bitcoin, or just money in general. And obviously they're not including exchange addresses, which is absolutely beautiful. So, to me, this is a great sign again that, things are very much moving in the right direction. The one flip side to this, the one downside to this that I just want you guys to be aware of is that, and it's the same thing you see right here. When there are a lot of accumulation addresses, that means there is also a lot of space for distribution. It means that a lot of people could potentially distribute their Bitcoins. And so this is good. Seeing it rise is a good sign, and it can rise for quite a while the price doubles, triples, 10x's, whatever, and we very well could be looking at a similar treatment to this right now. But obviously the best time to buy would be when there is no accumulation, when people are actually very unhappy with the market. And, from this, I think the best times for that would have been anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000. Obviously, we don't have that chance anymore, but I'm just pointing this out because it's important to know. And a lot of people, for some reason, get bullish when they hear these things. But when you see a lot of buying action, when you see a lot of accumulation going on, that means that whoever wanted to buy Bitcoin has now bought Bitcoin, and the only other thing they can do is now sell their Bitcoin. So a lot of people buying Bitcoin is not necessarily bullish. You want to be ahead of the curve, you don't want to be in it, and I think that's a really, really important thing to keep in mind, because a lot of people are going to look at this, especially with perhaps the wrong teachers that don't really know what they're talking about, and start thinking that these are really, really bullish things. They're not necessarily. It's just important to understand the nuances from top to bottom about each of these items. So there you go, a slightly different video to usual. I haven't really done any real TA right here, but there's been a lot of quite technical analysis on the background of Bitcoin and what's going on behind the scenes. So if you have enjoyed this one, do let me know in the comments. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff as well. If you want to be able to trade on the very same platform that I'm using, then Bybit is the one. You can check it out using the first link in the description down below. I'm sorry, using one of the links in the description down below. You'll see it. It says Bybit, and you can sign up using that link and then get some free money deposited into your account after you make your first deposit. So that's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars you're going to be getting in your account completely free of charge just by signing up using my link in the description. And if you want to be able to join 𝗪𝗪𝗡 VIP, where you can watch me trading in real time, we've just ripped a fairly decent Bitcoin trade. I'm in a profit on my Bitcoin trade. That's not actually super recent. That's maybe like a week ago. And also Ethereum, which was actually far more impressive than the Bitcoin trade. That one also went inside of VIP. Every trade I make goes inside of VIP, along with an explanation of what's going on and so on, why I'm choosing what I'm choosing, and all of that good stuff. I went short on Ethereum, and at the moment it's being a little bit weird, but it did turn out to be quite a nice short position just with this little drop right here. Ended up reaching 50% or close to their profit, which is absolutely phenomenal. So do check out these steps on screen if you want to be able to jump inside of 𝗪𝗪𝗡 VIP and see what's going on behind those closed doors. It's the first link in the description down below, then the @𝗪𝗪𝗡 button, and then send message to ask me how to join 𝗪𝗪𝗡 VIP. Really hope you have enjoyed this one. You know what to do if you have. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, and I'll see you all in the next one.